Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Now, it's time for me to do what's now going to be a annual reviews of my three favorite movies of the year. Now, last year, 2018, I did this. Also did a top did reviews for like top three favorite movies of the year, which were Solo, Halloween 2018, and Ready Player One. And I think that now, since the year is about to end, and well, mainly, no, not just the year, the decade is going to end, might as well just review, start reviewing the of my favorite movies of 2019. Now we're gonna start with one, which is Avengers Endgame, the high, which is now the highest grossing movie of all time, beating Avatar in the process. Yeah, yeah. Avengers Endgame. Since 2018's Iron Man, everything comes after this all culminates to this movie. This is like the end of a saga. Well, Spider-Man movie was really the end of the saga, but really, like, Avengers Endgame is the culminates this a saga, and then they're gonna make more movies after that. Mainly, this is just the end of what is the Infinity Saga, which consists of Phase 1, 2, and 3, the Infinity Saga. And sure, even though it was really Spider-Man Far From Home that is really what really cap off the whole saga, we just want to talk about the important one. Ever since Infinity War, when Thanos gets all the Infinity Stones and wipes half of the universe, including some couple members of the Avengers, we were all in disbelief. Like, what the hell just happened? What just happened? Did they just lose? Like, this is the first time we got to see the superhero team lose. My God, it was just terrible. Even some people were traumatized from this. And just people want to know, well, what's going to happen. Well, now we know what will happen thanks to Avengers Endgame, which when they first announced it was called Infinity War Part 2. But it was later given a real title of Avengers Endgame. So yeah, after the mass genocide of Thanos, who wiped out half of the universe, half of all life of the universe, just so he could keep things perfectly balanced, as all things should be. And the Avengers don't know what to do now. Sure, they meet up with Captain Marvel, which is her first time being in an Avengers movie, and the first time the characters met Captain Marvel, decided, you know what, let's just go to Thanos, take the stones, and bring everyone back. And it went there, and only to find out that he destroyed them. He used the stones to get rid of the stones. And since And then since Thor finally aimed for the head, I'm like, seriously? You waited until now that you gone for the head? Seriously, Thor? You're stupid. And fixing up something that you already messed up, that's not gonna solve anything. So then you're thinking that they would just think of something immediate. Think of another plan immediately. No. 5 years have passed. Yeah, we go through a time jump. No, like time travel thing. Like after that, 5 years passed, and it was like 2024 or 2023. Whatever. So 5 years had passed. The Avengers kind of gone their separate ways. And then if you saw Ant-Man and the Wasp, you know that Ant-Man, if you stayed to the credits, then you notice that Ant-Man went to the quantum zone to get some samples, and when he's about to jump back, the other Hank, Van, and Hope were also victims of the snap, meaning that he was stuck there for 5 years, and then thankfully, a rat. Now the truck was in a like storage unit, and some rat got in, ended up flipping the switches, which ultimately brought Ant-Man back. Though he was being in there for 5 years, to him, it feels like 5 hours. In which he tries finding he wants to know what happened, only to find a memorial of the victims of the snap. And he's just like, no. Thinking that his daughter might have been daughter or wife or crew or Hank, Hope, and Van, Janet, yeah. Were victims, only to find himself in. Only to find himself as a victim of the snap, even though they just didn't know that. They thought he was that he was snapped away. He was actually stuck in the quantum realm. And then he went back home to reunite with his daughter, who is now a teenager since 5 years passed. And they were in huge shock, thinking that he was dead, only to find out he's still alive. And then he had an idea, went to the other Avengers, and to know what happened to everything. And then he come up with the idea of, what if we can time travel back and get all the stones so we could bring everyone back? So this is when the film becomes a time travel film. They tried recruiting the other survived Avengers, and I'm sorry. So they brought back the original 5 surviving Avengers, which include Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, War Machine, Captain Marvel, Rocket, Nebula, Ant-Man. Yeah, I think that's all of that. That's all of them. Yeah, that's all of them. and they tried to figure out how to do a time heist. And this is when the film uses real science. Like, if you go back in time, if you've seen movies like Back to the Future, like if you go back in time, change something, it will alter the past. It will alter the future. If you alter the past, the future becomes different. This is when they use real science, like you use real theory, like it's almost like a time is it's like they say like time is a river. When when you time is like a river. If you change something, you create another. Like if you create another hole, you're just creating another river. Basically, like if you go back and change something, you're just creating a new time. You're just creating a new timeline, like a new alternate, like an alternate dimension. Now you can't just go straight there, and like you say, if you want to kill baby Hitler, you do that, and you go back in time, only to see that it's exactly the same. Not like the Holocaust still happened. Hitler led the Third Reich. World War II still happened. Like, you think I just changed it. Why hasn't it changed? Because you only created another timeline. You can't jump to that timeline. There isn't any science of that. It's like if I wanted to save John Lennon from getting assassinated, that's not gonna happen. Like if I'm gonna, like I've heard that in 1980, like John Lennon said in an interview, he wanted to have a Beatles reunion. This is like way before his death, like almost like a few years before his death, after the Beatles broke up. He was like planning for that in the 80s. So if I time travel, save John Lennon, I'm gonna have to stay in that timeline. So stop Mark David Chapman and then just stay there. Just stay. Only for just so time can time by, see the Beatles reunion, and I don't know how I'm gonna go back. So yeah. And this is basically what they do. They go to like different time. So they figure it out and decide the team put it together in groups and go to each different time zone. So they would go back to 2012 with the Battle of New York and the Avengers, and then others go to like the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, and the other will go to in Thor: The Dark World. Since in the Battle of New York, if you pick the perfect time, there are 3 stones. Since the ancient one is also in New York. So when Steve, Tony, and Scott and Bruce go back and I'm sorry, I'm just flipping. Go back to 2012 with the Battle of New York. Smart Hulk goes to the ancient one to get I think it was the Mind Stone. I know it's not the Soul Stone because that's in Vormir. So the Mind Stone. No, wait, that's the Time Stone. Yeah. Yeah, Loki has the Mind Stone. So yeah, the Ancient One trying to convince her and that, all while trying to figure out a plan to get both the Mind and the both the Tesseract and the Mind Stone. They seem to only get the Time Stone only for things to get out of control when Hulk busts out of the room, only to knock Tony out in the suitcase with the Tesseract, only for Loki to grab it, teleport somewhere, and this is where they And after that, this is where the Loki TV series start, coming to Disney Plus in 2021. So yeah, if you want to know why, so yeah, for the upcoming Loki series, if you want to know how he's alive, thanks to Avengers Endgame. You're not gonna see the same Loki from Ragnarok who's died in Infinity War. You're just gonna see the same Loki from the Avengers. So since they don't even have enough particles, since Hank also was a victim of the snap, he didn't make enough to make numerous time jumps. So they picked so Steve and Tony picked a time in the 70s where Hank is working with at Shield, and the Tesseract is also there, so they could just grab some particles and then grab the Tesseract and go back. And then this is where like and let's talk about where Rocket, Nebula, no, not Rocket, Nebula, Rhodey, Hawkeye, and Black Widow went. So they traveled back to when in Guardians of the Galaxy in the beginning, so we could see Star-Lord dancing to Redbone. And only to knock him out and steal the Power Stone, only for Natasha and Clint to go to Vormir and get the Soul Stone. And so, yeah. It's up to one of these. Since if you've seen Infinity War, how Thanos got the Soul Stone, he had to sacrifice a loved one. So he sacrificed Gamora for the Soul Stone. Now, for them, it's up to these two. It's like, all right, who's going to jump? It's either them, it's either Clint or Natasha. And sadly, it was Natasha. At first, like, I just wanted it to be Clint. And then I remember, oh, he has a family. And that, so it's sad to see our Black Widow go. And then coming in 2020, we finally get to see her solo movie. That's not taking place after Endgame because it takes place in between Civil War and Infinity War. At first, people thought it was sad. I was not one of those people who cried because as much as I tried to avoid spoilers because I can't watch it straight immediately. My mom had to go to 2 birthday parties in two different weekends, meaning that I had to wait 2 weeks to finally see the movie. And during that time, now they did a campaign saying, please don't spoil the end game. There is obviously people who didn't at my school who, that was in high school. I'm no longer in high school. I graduated. I'm in college. And I just wanted to kill these people who did spoiled it. They just ultimately ruined it for me. Yeah. And, yep. So, that ultimately sucked for me. Yeah. Oh yeah, and they didn't mention the other big spoiler, which will happen later. But if you're watching this and you surprisingly haven't seen it, what are you doing with, I'm sorry, and what are you doing with your life? So yeah, Natasha sacrificed herself Clint gets the Soul Stone. And then while Nebula and War Machine are also there, there's also the other Nebula and Gamora happening to interfere with their. So she's made a machine, so it's like they're made a machine, so like they would interfere, and while I think when. And then the other Nebula was not from the current time, gets a transmission showing what happened with Thanos, the confrontation between Thanos and the Avengers at the beginning of the film. It shows like a conversation between Thanos and Nebula before Thor goes for the head. And Thanos in 2014, there we go, 2014, he thought Nebula killed her. So it's up to, so the other Nebula captures the other Nebula, disguises herself as the current Nebula, just so she can, after they jump back, she would just mess around with the time machine to bring 2014 Thanos to the modern world, just so they could, just so he can cause more destruction. And sorry, my legs are. So and after everyone gets the stones, this is where the third act comes in. So they all got the stones. They made their own gauntlet. Since the stones are really powerful and they can be very dangerous, they were up to like who is going to do the snap to bring everyone back. It was ultimately led to. Oh yeah, and they also found out that Natasha sacrificed herself, and they were really sad. They were mourning. Bruce took it hard. Like, he was really, really sad, really devastated. And it was like really sad for them. So yeah, Bruce, or Smart Hulk, puts on the gauntlet. It's like so powerful, it's like burning his arm. They're like, ah! And then brought everyone back and he passed out. Brought everyone back and passed out. While that was happening, Nebula is also fiddling around, bringing 2014 Thanos back. Ultimately to destroy the whole Avengers headquarters. And this is when they start to suit up, and yeah, this is when they suit up and try to defeat Thanos, only to take a very bad terrible beating. And then Thanos' huge army starts coming in. Okay, this is where the whole fanboy explains. And then Thanos brings his whole big ass army, and they don't even know what, the Avengers don't even know what to do. And then Cap gets a transmission from Sam. He's like, hey, Cap, can you hear me? Like, yeah? On your left. And on your left, Black Panther and the Wakanda. And the people of Wakanda shows up. And then, as well as the Falcon, the Winter Soldier, what? Scarlet Witch, and the Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man all showed up, and everyone from the Guardians showed up. Everyone from like Guardians of the Galaxy, the Asgardians, and even the, yeah, everyone starts to show up. This is where the big battle begins. And then finally, we get to hear Captain America yell the words, Avengers! Oh yeah, and also, Captain America is worthy of the Mjolnir. And that's when he goes, Avengers! You finally get to hear the words, Avengers! Assemble. And everyone just goes into a huge battle. Everyone like beating the shit out of each other. Oh, epic battle. Everyone is going nuts. Everyone in the audience is going nuts. We know what shit's about. Everyone knows this is the greatest thing that ever happened to cinema. That's what everyone say. This is like the greatest thing ever in the cinema. Everyone, this whole thing, all this coming together. Yeah, while it's happening, you're trying, like, Thanos is trying to get the Infinity Gauntlet just so he can undo the snap to erase everyone. And it's like one person after the other, and the other, and the other. It's up to like Thanos and Tony. Tries to grab this. And even and all this, Captain Marvel shows up. Just like flying through the fucking ship. And it's up to this battle. This is where we get to see, like, now this is the first time I ever seen Captain Marvel. I never got to see Captain Marvel in the theater. I watched it after it came out on digital. I was like, oh yeah, let's see how powerful she is. Oh yeah, Thanos hits Carol on the head. She didn't flinch. Didn't hurt a bit. And I was like, I could do this all day. Like, he's so powerful enough. And then Thanos took the Power Stone, beats her ass. And I was like, seriously? That's the most powerful thing? Are you kidding me? What if this was a letdown? She's supposed to be the most powerful Avenger. And she got her ass beaten by the freaking Power Stone. Like, come on. Now, it is... And yeah, let's not forget the one confrontation between Thanos and Scarlet Witch. You took everything from me. I don't know who you are. Oh, you will. And then it just unleashes full power on Thanos, trapping her in the rubble, only for him to find a way out. And then it's all up to, and then since there's a river nearby and there's a dam, it causes an eventual flood, only for Doctor Strange to, like, trying to stop this from happening. He's about to stop this from happening. And then it's all up to Tony. So. And then Tony looks at Strange. And then Strange does this. Like in Infinity War, there's like a million possible. Since you see the one scene where he's like, man, this and that. It's like you've seen a million times, see the outcome a million times, and they only win once. And they know that this is their only chance. So he grabs Thanos. Thanos tries to grab the gauntlet. Gets knocked away. And then puts on the gauntlet. And Thanos puts on the gauntlet. I am inevitable. Only for nothing to happen. Huh? Stones are gone. Listen, Tony. He has the stones. And you know, this thing is too powerful. It's like burning it. Not just burning his arm, but almost like to his face. Knowing that he is not going to survive this. And the final... And then we get to hear these 3 or 4 words one last time. And I am Iron Man. And then he snapped And then all of Thanos' army has been dusted away, including Thanos. He has been defeated. Thanos' are the Avengers finally won. And then, but not for Tony. Due to the power of the stones, he died of his injuries. He sacrificed himself to save the world. Now, I already know about this, and it really, because of those stupid fucking shitheads that wouldn't keep their goddamn mouth shut, ruined it. Now, because of that, when I watched it, I didn't cry immediately. And I hate it for that. And I hate them for that. These people are just like Thanos. A soulless bastard. And then we cut to a memorial where everyone that we know, the Guardians, the Avengers, people who've known Tony Stark, all came to his memorial. We even get to see a hologram presented to his wife. Now, you know what's sad? That during those 5 years, Tony and Pepper got married, and they had a daughter named Morgan. And it's kind of sad that she's gonna grow up without a father figure. For the rest of her life, she's not gonna have a father figure around. For the rest of her childhood, and her teen years, she's not gonna have a father figure. It's really sad for her. And the memorial shot where they put a little flower bed with one of the original arc reactors that said proof that Tony has a heart, and you just let it there and flow, and then just scroll, and now this part when it just camera moves to everyone who is there at Tony's funeral. Everyone from the Avengers to the Guardians to everyone that Tony knows, even characters that we haven't seen in movies for a while, showed up at Tony's funeral. I can admit that this was the part where I cried. Not the part where Tony immediately died. Not people already ruined it for me. But seeing all these people, seeing these people saddened, knowing that I would have been sad as well. I would have been. This is just sad. I literally burst into tears. I haven't cried. Like, this is where I literally actually cry. Not just like get teary, but actually cried in the. Like, I haven't cried like this in a long time. Like, I literally haven't cried like this in a long time. And at least that hopefully gives it, at least knowing that there's going to be something that emotional that I can't handle in this movie. Like this, it was really sad. The same thing to me happened again with the ending of Toy Story 4. 2019 is the year that I cried the most. And yeah. And then after the funeral, Captain America volunteers to put the stones back since Not only they stole the stones, but they not only they had to steal the stones, but after using it, they're gonna have to bring it back, put them back to where they're from. And then Steve Rogers, Captain America, decides to stick bring the stones back. So he goes back, and they're about to bring him, and they're going to bring him back, only to nothing happen. I was like, what's going on? And then Bucky notices over there in the distance an old man sitting on a bench. Sam approaches the man, only to find out it's an older Steve. He went back in time when he returned the mind, soul, power. When he finally went back to the 40s to bring back one of the stones, the last stone, he decided not to go back to that timeline. You know what? I'm gonna live the life that I never got to live. So he decided to stay here and reunites with Peggy and live a happy life. And the old Steve then got something for Sam, and it's the Captain America shield. He's passing the torch of Captain America to Sam, knowing that he is more worthy of this. If you pick anyone else to be Captain America, it would be him. Now, at first, I wanted Bucky to be Captain America, but I sort of agree with it. So, yeah. And then after that, we cut to the final scene, the final shot, where now in one of the Captain America films, Peggy Carter tells Tony, like, I want to have this dance for one last time. And then we cut back to the 40s, and we see Steve having that dance with Peggy. And even I became teary, knowing that they each found that Steve finally found his happy ending. And it'll be the last time we'll ever get to see Chris Evans as the great Captain America. And that was Avengers Endgame. Now, my dad never liked the movie, but forget him. I loved it. I really do. They still managed to perfectly, even though a lot of things happened, they managed to know how to keep this thing forward, keep it straight, and not have a lot of bumps and that. Mainly, it was just the biggest thing to ever happen to cinema. I don't even care if Martin Scorsese says that these movies are not cinema. I still like Scorsese. I still like Marvel movies. I don't care what he says. Everyone has a different opinion on what cinema is. So, yeah. Avengers Endgame is is the biggest movie of the year, even becoming the highest grossing movie of 2019, beating Avatar in the box office. Knowing that back then superhero movies weren't a thing, and now today it's become this huge medium. Now the two biggest genres are horror and superhero movies. Mainly just now it seems that superhero movies are the biggest genre of film ever. Even though it's the end of the Infinity Saga, there is still more movies by Marvel that are going to come in the future. Especially since this year, Disney bought Fox, and now the X-Men and Fantastic Four will be coming to the MCU. So yeah, Avengers Endgame is a 10 out of 10. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like on the video. In fact, comment down below, what is your favorite scene from Avengers Endgame? As always, comment and subscribe. My name is Alfred Malky. And as Tony Stark says, I love you 3000.